Chair, we are live and recording. You can begin whenever you wish.
Great. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Welcome, everybody, to our regular council meeting of October the 7th. Before we begin into the proceedings, just remind everybody that the meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Township's YouTube channel. Council, if you wish to speak on a matter, as is always the case, please raise your hand and I will call on you to speak. And also, as a reminder, please ensure your microphones are on so that folks online can hear us as well. Because we do have people joining us online as well as from in the chambers. So we'll just begin with calling the roll. We've got Deputy Mayor Nelson, Councillor Watt, Councillor Johnston, Councillor Landsman, of course myself, Mayor Heather Watson, and then a number of members of staff who are joining us on the bench, which we'll introduce at the appropriate time. So with quorum of council in attendance, I will call the meeting to order, beginning with the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on the lands which are part of the 1818 Treaty 20 in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe bands of the Great Ojibwe Nation. We offer our gratitude to the Ojibwe for their care and knowledge of the lands on which we work, live, and enjoy. May we honor and respect their teaching and our treaty obligations as we grow together. And we'll just pause for a moment of silent reflection. Okay, council, the agenda package was distributed to you last week. I haven't seen any disclosure of pecuniary interest, but if there is one, now would be the time to declare that. Seeing nothing, just looking for an adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Watt, seconded by Councillor Landsman, all in favor, and that motion carries. We have two sets of minutes in front of us, 6.1, the regular council meeting for September 15th and a special council meeting for September 23rd. Just looking for a motion to receive and approve those. Councillor Johnston, seconded by Deputy Mayor Nelson, all in favor, and that too carries. We have 3 items on consent agenda. Council, is there any item that you would like to hold for discussion later on in the agenda? I don't see anything of Deputy Mayor.
Just a comment. Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, just 7.3 maybe just to make one comment on.
That's perfect. I was going to hold that one myself. Thank you. We'll move that then down to item 12.4 on the agenda. And are there any other items on the agenda that council wishes to hold? And if not, I'll just take a motion to receive those. Councillor Johnson, motion. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Landsman, all in favor. And that carries. Okay, on to delegations, petitions, presentations, and public meetings. We do have 2 presentations. So first we will welcome up Stephen Reeder and Nick DiDomenico, I think, close from Ontario Green Peaker. They have a presentation to walk us through. So gentlemen, come on up. And hopefully the clerk has given you proper instruction on turning the microphone on and that. We'll get you briefed. As long as it's right, you're good.
Thank you very much. Hi, Nick and I are here from Originative Energy Solutions Partners to present a project that we're looking at constructing. We're looking at bidding it into the ISO first, and if awarded the contract, construct in this area. We can go to the next slide. The introductions. Our company is 5 individuals who have been in the energy sector for, between us all, we've got over 150 years experience in the energy sector. So we're all gray, but have a lot of experience and we know what we're doing. We've been very successful in this business. We've developed projects of all types in North America, Europe, Africa, we've done India, so all over the world we've done projects. Next slide, please. The project overview, this is in response to the ISO, the Independent Electricity System Operator in Ontario has got with an RFP. And they're looking for up to 600 megawatts of capacity. It's not energy, it's capacity. So it's like backup generator, like everybody has a Generac in their backyard. This is something like that for the power system for Ontario. It's supposed to be in operation by 2030. The bids are due in December and they'll award by June of next year. So we would like to bid between 200 to 300 megawatts in the site that we've made arrangements for. And this is a site on Highway 7. And it's Highway 7. And the reason for that, the size, is because the transmission lines in that area can only take up to 300 megawatts. So when we get more clarification, we'll know exactly how large we can build there. This will be a green peaker. So it will be fired with biofuels. And our supplier of biofuels is Drain Brothers, which is, we have a representative of Drain Brothers here with us today. The land that we're looking at is, oh, next slide, please, sorry. The land we're looking at is at 2862 Highway 7 in Norwood. And it's an existing site that's owned by Drain Brothers. We're leasing the portion that they're not using for gravel on that site to build this on. And we're going to tie into the 230 kV lines that run through the property. So we're not looking at easements to go across any other property. It'll all be contained within this one site. The transmission lines have capabilities up to, as I said, up to about 300 megawatts. And we would like to propose, we have variant, we can propose variants. So we're going to probably bid 200, 250, and 300 megawatts. Depends on what the ISO selects. That's about the range that we're going to be in. And we expect to work with Drain Brothers as well and as I say, Josiah's here from representing Drain Brothers. We're looking to use them to do a lot of the civil works for us and their construction group, and also supply fuel. So they'll be integral to the project. Next slide. Our ask today, one of the things that the ISO is requiring is that we secure a municipal support resolution, and it's required to put the bid in. And the municipal support resolution is, I don't know why they call it a support resolution, because all it's basically saying is that you have nothing in your bylaws preventing the development of this type in your community. We've also delivered a pre-engagement confirmation notice to the town, which is also a requirement. And by issuing the support resolution, it doesn't relieve us from any of our obligations. We still have to go through all the permitting, environmental permitting, conservation authority, all the permits that we require through the township. There's no get out of jail free card here for us. Next slide, please. So the benefits to the town, the township, would be additional tax base, several $1 million of construction work when this is being built. A 200 megawatt facility is about $400 million in capital cost. So it's a fairly big project. Local spin-off is 30 to 40 $1 million in that range. There'd be about 10 to 12 long full-time employees at the site. These are all fairly professional jobs, high paying, good positions. And then also a lot of contract people will be having fuel. So there'll be trucks supplying fuel. We'll have landscape contracts. We'll have maintenance contracts. So over and above the normal employees, there'll be several contracts as well. We plan to enter into a support agreement with the township once we move forward and we know we've been selected. So we would like to work with the town to negotiate all these things. Next slide This is just a shot of the turbines. This is what would be going on the property. There'd be up to 6 of these units like this on the property, and that's what they look like. They come fully erected like this. As you can see, they come on trailers. They're parked on site. They're attached. They tie into the substation, which ties into the transmission lines. So they're fairly simple. They're not that unattractive. We'll have landscaping around it. So we're hoping visually, you're not going to see much of this from the road. And one of the reasons we selected the site as well is it already has industrial zoning, so it is zoned appropriately right now. And we'll continue to work with the township and your landscape people to come up with a landscape design so that it fits in the community. Next slide, please. This is sort of showing where it could be located on the property. Right now, this is early stage. And the reason I say that is we still have to do our environmental work, and that will dictate more where it's located. It has to do with setbacks for environmental, noise, conservation authority, on and on and on. So that will dictate exactly where it is on the property, but we believe this is a site that this is where it could be on the property at the end of the day. Next slide. This sort of shows the layout that we're looking at. As we said, those are the turbines that are on there, and the substation, and then from there it ties into the transmission lines. It's actually fairly simple and straightforward. A little expensive, but simple and straightforward. The next slide, please. This is a shot of the land itself, and you can see where we're looking at putting it on the land. The bluish areas, those are areas that could be deemed conservation areas. We're not quite sure at this point. So we're trying to stay as far away from those as possible. There are some trees in those areas, and that's why we've marked them like that. So we're trying to stay in the areas that will have the least impact to the land. But once again, the permitting process will dictate where that goes at the end of the day. Final slide. So the next steps, we're asking the council to vote in favor of granting municipal support resolution. And then after that, we'd work together to develop positive support agreements between our companies, between our company and the township. And then just to let you know, we've also notified the First Nations in this area, the two different bands actually. We've notified them of this, and we'll continue to work with them and keep them abreast of what's going on. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Anybody?
Yeah, we'll open the floor to council for any questions. Councillor Johnston.
Yes.
Yeah, through the chair. Now, you said that you're putting in a bid to do this.
Correct.
Now, other ones that are gonna be putting in a bid, are they gonna be in the same spot, or are they coming up with their own spot?
They'll come up with their own
I
spot,
see.
and they'll come up with their own technology. Most of the bids that are going in are looking at battery storage rather than generation. We're looking at generation. It's a different technology than most, but each one has to find their own site, their own land.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, through the chair. Thanks for your presentation, guys.
Thank you.
A couple of questions I have is, how many homes would that work out to be with what you're proposing?
Not sure I answered the question.
I think I understand. So if a wind farm or a solar farm comes in, they basically say we generate X megawatt hours a year, and that's equivalent to X homes that have an average consumption. This is capacity, it's not energy. It's expected to run on the coldest days of winter, the hottest days of summer, and when the grid sees failures. So it requires effectively fast rapid emergency replacement of that energy. Very few, this is reliability. This product is for the lights to stay on, because without capacity as backup, the lights don't go on, don't stay on when you have failures of other elements. in the grid. So it serves a different purpose. The ISO is also procuring an energy stream, which would be typically solar and wind. So we're in the reliability stream, which is
Yeah, we only expect this to run between 200 to 300 hours a year. But it will be available all the time.
So further question from that, this is kind of a backup system.
Yes, it is.
It's like.
like your
you said
generator in your
earlier-
backyard.
Like you'd said earlier about having a generator in your backyard. but-
Correct.
So, just from that, my question would be, would anybody, I'm presuming, people in this municipality would benefit from having that backup
Yes.
power?
I can give you an example, and
Sure.
I think your CAO lives in Coburg. In 2003, I was with TransCanada, working with TransCanada at the time, TransCanada Pipelines and Energy, and we put in some backup generator, very similar to this, in Coburg, in the north part of Coburg. It tied in right at the TransCanada compressor station and the transmission lines there. In 2003, with the big blackout, and it wiped out most of eastern North America, Coburg was one of the first areas that came back online. And it came back online, one of the reasons, because that generation was there. It was able to come back online very quickly.
This would be the exact same technology. The only difference would be the fuel choice.
Mhm.
Those units were fired on gas.
We're running
These
on
units will be fired on
biofuels.
predominantly.
Mm.
So,
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
well, the other thing, just for public, Ontario has 24,000 megawatts of peak. It has in excess of 30,000 megawatts of generation. Because stuff happens, nuclear plants have got to be taken out for weeks at a time, major plants trip. So it has about an 18% reserve margin. So that's what this capacity is. It forms part of effectively that reserve.
And also to let you know that these I mentioned that we're only going to run between 200 to 300 hours a year. We're only required to run a maximum of 8 hours a day between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. So never overnight.
16.
Or 16 hours. No, we're required to run 8 hours, but we're available for that 16 hours, and only Monday to Friday. And stat holidays are excluded as well. So this is only available during peak times, really.
That's when reserve capacity is most valuable.
Right. So we wouldn't be running on weekends. We wouldn't be running at night, and we won't run on stat holidays.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor, did you have another question?
Thanks for that, guys.
Yeah. No problem.
Councillor Watt, and gentlemen, if I could just remind you, we should all be speaking into the mic because people online can't hear us as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation, gentlemen. Council has had this in front of them since last Thursday,
Yes.
and I'm guessing, if I'm not out of line here, that this project has been in the works for a while through Drain Brothers, because, that's the property doing stuff like that. And I know Drain Brothers all my life, basically like that.
Mhm.
They're gonna do their homework, and they're gonna know that this is a viable project, ready to go, and that it is a good site and everything else. And I trust that implicitly. So
Right.
I just want to say that I rely on them a lot to help us through this process, and I'm very much in favor of it. So thank you.
Well, we rely on them as well, too. We found them as a very good partner, and really, really good to work with. And we look forward to a long-term relationship with them.
Any other questions from council? Councillor Lansman?
Oh, thank you for the presentation. I did have a question, but it was answered earlier in the
Oh.
day. So, thank you.
Not a problem.
Councillor Johnston?
To the chair, just one other question I have. When you are running, what did you say about the noise level? Was,
We're required to meet the municipal standard for noise, and it would be within 10 feet of the facility, within 10 feet of the turbines that we had pictured there. we're down to about 40 decibels. 40, 45, is it 45? 45. At the nearest receptor, we're down to 35. And the nearest receptor is a house. They're outside of their window of the house. If everybody was quiet in this room is much noisier than 35 decibels, by the way. If everybody was absolutely quiet.
Typically an offset for this type of equipment around 200 to 250 meters would meet
The standard.
provincial standard. Right. The equipment comes contained, to attenuate the noise. You can augment the noise attenuation to the extent it's required. That's all to be figured out.
It will be figured out during the environmental permitting process. We have to do all the noise studies, and we'll work with the council members in the township to go over that data. But we're with the Ministry of Environment. We have to do those all the submissions, and all the studies will be done. We have to do bird, bats, noise, everything, and it'll all be done and submitted at that time. And we have to meet or exceed the municipal standards, and we will be doing that. Once again, the municipal standards are set for 2 in the morning. We're not running at 2 in the morning, so we're going to meet it during the daytime hours. My guess is the highway's noisier than what we're talking about anyways. But we still will meet those standards. And if we have to do additional attenuation, there's different wraps that we can put around the units. The units come, they're insulated, they're fairly quiet. But if we had to do additional work, we would be required to do that, and we would.
Another question from Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thanks through the chair. Just another thought I had, during an emergency, something like what we had that, say that
Yes.
winter with the ice storm,
Right.
would them hours of operations be able to change and provide power to the grid?
They could change, but it would be an emergency situation. But under our contract, we're only required to operate during those times. This unit could operate 24 hours a day, technology-wise, 7 days a week. But under the contract, we're not doing that. If it was an emergency situation, it could be done, yes.
So is the contract actually
Doesn't
with
prohibit-
Ontario Hydro or?
The contract is from the Independent Electricity System Operator.
Okay.
So it's directly with them, which is the provincial government, and Ontario Hydro works under them, actually.
Right. So in other words, probably or possibly, if an emergency happened, they would probably
Request.
that you run and keep power running to as
Correct.
much as you could.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thanks very much.
Okay, it looks like the rest of council has no further questions. I do have a couple of questions,
Great.
gentlemen, if you could indulge. Looking at slide number 10, I won't bore you with the details, but it was the GPS map of the site plan effectively. Seeing that the CP rail, of course, it's just south of Highway 7, but it kind of trickles through there. Are there any concerns with CNR about running that system nearby? I'm just thinking with the fuel, with ethanol being its
No.
main.
It's running up and down the highway right now. It's the same thing. We'll have a fuel storage tank on site. And the Drain Brothers will have storage at their site for this facility. And in that, we have to have containment. We'll believe that we're required to contain the 125%. So if we're storing 100,000 gallons, we have to have basically 125,000 gallons of containment. So it could never overflow. In the unlikely event that anything happened, it's not likely, but we still will have that in place. But no, there's no issues. We'll be far enough away from the rails that they're not going to bother us, and we're not going to bother them.
Nope, that's fair. And I know
Yeah.
sometimes the rails can be a little difficult to deal with at times. So I'm just
Okay.
thinking in terms of setbacks and what their
Yes.
requirements are.
No, we're far enough away from the rails that there's no issues at all.
Wonderful, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gentlemen, I don't have any further questions. Thank you for your interest in
Thank you.
investing in this project in Douro-Dummer Township and your partnership with Drain Brothers and Fourth Ethanol to move this forward. It certainly is unique and innovative. And we appreciate your interest and desire to move this forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So council, looking at you, we're looking for initially a motion to receive, and then also in our agenda package, there is a draft motion that is effectively kind of checking the check boxes that ISO is looking for us to put that motion of support. I would think we should have those motions in two separate motions. I saw Councillor Johnston's hand and
I'll make a motion to receive the documents that they put forward in front of us.
okay, thank you. Who would like to second that motion? Deputy Mayor Nelson, any discussion on the motion to receive? All in favor? And that motion carries. Now the draft motion, what would you like to do with that? Councillor Watt?
Yes, thank you through you, Madam Mayor. I would like to go ahead and approve the motion that's presented to us. The council does move ahead with it.
So precisely as written in the agenda package, just for clarity for the clerk.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Nelson will second that. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing nothing, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? And that motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, we have a presentation from Maggie Pearson, our library CEO, on the library's strategic plan. So come on up, Maggie, and tell us all about your strategic plan. Maggie, just mic on, please. Turn it on. You get the red, the blue button, talk button. There we go. There we go.
Oh, there's even a little how-to. Well done. Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. and
Always learning
Council.
at our library, Maggie, always learning.
I'm Maggie Pearson, Library CEO. We also have San Williamson here, Library Assistant, who is part of the Planning Committee together with the board. There's a full copy of the strategic plan in the meeting agenda, and I'm so happy to be here to present it. Next slide, please. All right, just a little bit of background for the project. DDPL did not have a current strategic plan at the start of this council term. Obviously, over the years, the board has had an unofficial vision and mission of expanding space and services. And then last year, council recognized some challenges that the library has faced by passing a resolution calling for municipal staff to explore and identify opportunities for space within the township into which library service could grow and expand. At the same time, the library board had an opportunity to work with the OLS, and their mandate includes providing strategic guidance to rural libraries. And the board also received feedback that an official long-term plan could help support the growth of the library. So with all this information for context, the board embarked on our strategic plan journey. Next slide, please. These are sector guidelines that I keep referring to, and I know we've seen these all together before, but I just wanted to take 1 minute to review them. Basically, serving a population of just over 7,000 residents, the board's aiming for DDPL to meet minimum standards for what's called a medium-sized branch. And the only reason I'm reiterating that now is because you'll see later on our strategic priorities center around addressing these targets over the next 4 years. So net library space, hours of operation per week, and staff complement. You can see the minimum standard in the middle and DDPL's current offering and capacity right now. Next slide, please. Okay, so as with any planning project, we started with a scan, and this is one of our most telling stats that we come back to again and again, which is our active membership alongside neighboring municipalities with comparable populations. So you can see Douro-Dummer Township there highlighted in orange. This is just from annual public library survey data. So this also really shaped our strategic priorities, working to reach residents in all corners of the township, and making sure we're not just serving one pocket of the township. Next slide, please. Okay, so as part of the scan, we also looked at usage stats. So here's some growth in numbers, and I'm just putting these up here because they've changed since last I was before council. So our membership is up from 2023. We had a little dip in physical resources circulated last year, but our real growth and success is in programming and events. and attendees annually to programming, going from 740 to over 1,800 from 2022 to 2024. Next slide, please. All right, this question is one the planning committee thought a lot about when we started consulting community for this project. And I just wanted to include this here because I know I just shared a lot of numbers with you about the library, but I want to acknowledge that user stats don't always tell the whole story of how a library is impacting the community. So another aim of this project is to really try to get stakeholders to see and hear and feel the individual experiences of people using Douro-Dummer Public Library. So when I say this, I mean, like when we ask how many books we loaned out, we want to know, how did loaning the material impact the citizen? When we count how many people came to programs, we want to know how attending the program impacted the citizen. What did they go home and do after? How did it change them or their mood or their lives as they're living and working in Douro-Dummer? Next slide, please. I really love this quote. I'll just paraphrase the last part there, that there is a great democratizing potential in examining the individual's experience. So we were interested in asking, what is the cultural value of the library in our township? And I know it's not easy to attach metrics to how people use the library to ease loneliness, or how they use it to feel belonging or enrich their mind. But when we asked these questions from Douro-Dummer residents using the library, nobody ever had anything shallow to say. It was always very meaningful and very profound and personal. Next slide, please. This is a tool called the Experience Impact Compass, and this is designed to help communicate the value of public libraries by measuring the intellectual, creative, and social and emotional impact libraries can have on communities. This is not our profile. This is actually Toronto Public's, but I just wanted to share the tool because if you go around the circle, all of the ways a library can impact people's experience, none of these will be a surprise to anybody who has been into a public library or DDPL for that matter. And then another reason I wanted to show this is because I know sometimes we worry about duplicating services. And I think that's a valid concern when a service is maybe surface or transactional, but I want to encourage all of us to think about every resident in Douro-Dummer possessing one of these compasses, and that sort of the, everybody has the potential to be impacted in all of these ways, depending on how robust and how open and how present the public library is. Next slide, please. All right, so what did we hear in our own community consultation? This took place through a number of different channels. We had around 75 survey respondents, and again, probably that much for in-person interactions and people coming into a public meeting to write on a suggestion wall in the library. Next slide, please. So these are a few responses from library members about their own experiences at DDPL. Writers group at DDPL has been a life-changing experience for me. It's a time to meet new people and explore boundaries which have previously been hidden. And the second quote, they've been a lifeline during power outages. And then this library member lists different services and programs that affect them. And I was really interested in that second quote because it sort of highlighted the compelling case of the ice storm and the community's reliance on the public library in a time of uncertainty and emergency. People all of a sudden had a lot of emergent needs and were coping with a lot of stress. And we saw a huge number of people coming through the library to check emergency updates, charge devices, connect with loved ones, attend work meetings. And our DVD stats also went through the roof. Next slide, please. This also came out of our community consultation. This was one very specific survey question response that I just wanted to share because it was such a common topic in all of our discussions, which is that residents expect library services to be available outside of typical school and work hours during the day. Next slide, please. Who doesn't love word cloud? These are just from our open text responses that I fed into this. So you can kind of see what's coming across there from what people said in that. Most people spoke to space and most people spoke to hours. They talked about coming to events where there was only standing room, feeling uncomfortable or awkward in a space that didn't accommodate the activity. And then hours, again, just the same thing we've already talked about, programming being offered at times that is maybe inconvenient to families that work and go to school. And then a lack of programming for adults during evening hours when they're working during the day. Next slide, please. Okay, we brought all of this information to crafting our vision and mission statements. We know people come to the library with all kinds of diverse information and social needs. And with our mission, we really wanted to capture as many of those basic public needs as possible. So the need to belong, find what you're looking for, meet with other people, inform your decisions, locate resources that help you enjoy yourself and enjoy your neighbors. Oh, I'll just, well, that's fine. I won't go over these because this is quite text heavy. These are the values that the planning committee agreed on, but I encourage everybody to read them on their own time. Next slide, please. Which brings us to the library's strategic priorities. So the first one, spur growth, expand the library's reach and relevance across the township. So that's just getting out to where we haven't reached, targeting underserved areas of the township, refreshing our brand identity. I don't know if you noticed, but we have a new logo, and growing active membership. So thinking back to where we stack up compared to other municipalities and population served. And then priority 2, reimagining space. So this one is very much about openness, continuing to redesign our current location to create more open space. And then expanding open library service hours to accommodate the lifestyle, location, and routines of all residents in the township. Next slide. Number 3, cultivate innovation. So this one's all about maintaining a standard of programs and services that are responsive and relevant to what people are looking for. So some new programs we have in the works that we're excited about that sort of fulfill this priority. Is that we're working on a partnership with the Trent Humanities Department to bring humanities lectures out to the township. And we've also recently embarked on a partnership with Nature Discovery Backpack, thanks to a contact suggested from the mayor to bring their program to Douro-Dummer next spring. Number 4, build capacity, strengthen the library's foundation to ensure long-term sustainability and impact. This one's quite foundational, so taking steps toward making sure that the library can recruit and retain talent, approaching having that full-time employee, which of course translates to supporting all the other priorities. Next slide, please. I thought I would just end here with some photos of programs that, that we need to enjoy. So our next steps are to operationalize all of these objectives by taking small steps year by year. Going into 2026, we really want to be able to offer residents just 3 more open operating hours that are accessible for working adults and working families with school-aged children. Those 3 hours would have a huge impact on a large number of people. People who currently are saying they can't access the library when they want and need to. And then a capital project to open up 1 wall in the square footage that we currently have, as well as continuing to explore the opportunity for more space in the township. All right, next slide. Thank you. I hope I've offered you food for thought and ideas for further conversations in the spirit of the library. And I can answer any questions about the project or the plan. And so can San, who was on the planning committee and is also here.
Okay, thank you very much, Maggie. Any questions from council on the strategic plan? Councilor Lansman.
Through the chair, that was a nice presentation, and I think it is important to put out that information. And just on another side, the Culture Days event, which I know is mostly the Friends of the
Mhm.
Library, that was fantastic. For anybody who didn't go, you should have.
Mm.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Any questions on the strategic plan? Counselor Watt?
Sorry, not a question, just a comment. It was a good job. It was a good exercise. We had some very good thoughts and the part that I participated in anyhow, and I was very impressed with the moderator we had there. Went very well, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? Deputy Mayor?
Through the chair, just a comment, thanks for your presentation, Maggie, and thanks for all your hard work and dedication and for doing the strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Seeing no other comments, just looking for a motion to receive that with thanks from Counselor Watt, seconded by Deputy Mayor Nelson. All in favor? And that motion carries. Thank you very much. Just Maggie, if you don't mind turning that mic off, please. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to section 9 of our agenda. We had nobody register for the public comment period. So moving on to staff reports and our procurement update, and I believe Mr. Josh is going to be presenting that. Yep. I will.
Of the new treasurer?
Mr. Joshi is going to be presenting the procurement update. Joshi. You can give it a go, counselor. What are we procuring, right? Over to you, Chicho.
Through you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, good evening. This is my first time presenting, so I thank you for the opportunity. I'm here today to present the report Treasurer 2025-25, which provides the procurement update for the month of October. This procurement project PW-2025-4 is regarding the Halls Glen Transfer Station weight scale replacement, as the current scale is over 20 years old and has become unreliable, prompting the need for replacement. The staff issued a request for tender through the bids and tender platform in accordance with the Township procurement policy, and we received 2 bids. The lowest compliant bid is from Rosecale Limited and at a cost for $99,063.36. While this amount exceeds the approved budget of $55,000, the shortfall will be covered using the surplus funds from the 2025 roads surface treatment project. Staff recommendation is to award the contract to Rosecale Limited, given their competitive pricing and prior experience working at the transfer station. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions from council on the report that's before you? Councillor Johnston.
Thank you. And maybe the people would be interested in knowing, we know that the lowest bid was 99,000 and there's only one other bid. Maybe it might be interested in knowing how much the other bid was.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councilor Johnston, the other bid was $302,298.43.
And I'll just piggyback on that, Counselor. Can you speak to the vast difference? I believe I saw in the report that there were half a dozen or so bid takers, but only 2 submitted bids ultimately. Why would you speculate like there's such a change in that or gap?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we assume that the results vary due to the time frame, as we were planning to have the work started early fall, and the bid process started in midsummer. So most of the bid reasons were due to the time constraint.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions from council? Deputy Mayor Nelson?
Thanks for doing the report there. Just one question I have is, has there been any, I guess, new technology in scales where, lightning does not affect the scale? Is there anything, we done pretty much everything up there at that scale. And unfortunately, there's not a really, lot to it, all the technical stuff of the scale all of the computer components and all of that is very, susceptible to the lightning, and you got a big steel thing sitting there, and it seems to attract lightning. Is there any, maybe you don't know anything, or maybe there has not been any advancement? That's my question anyways.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Deputy Nelson. As far as the technology that prevents a damage related to lightning, I'm not aware seeing anything related to that in the bid received from Rose Scale Limited. Primarily, the difference would be in terms of the capacity of the scale itself and the quality of the scale.
Thanks for that.
And I've got Councillor Watt with a question.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. Good job in your first presentation. And I'm not sure, it's kind of a two-part question. How long do they figure it would take to take the ovens out, put the new ones in and get it all set up, ready to go? And my second part of that question is people are still going to be coming into the transfer station. So are we going to have a portable set up so we can still kind of track how much is going in, how much is going out, and get paid for it?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Council Watt. In terms of the schedule, we have had a discussion with the Public Works Manager, Mr. Condon, and the schedule is right after the summer hours when the traffic slows down. But during the time of operation, that has yet to be discussed and confirmed, the actual replacement of the scale. And could you repeat the second question, please?
Sorry, it was, will there be a temporary set of scales put in, so we can still charge people bringing stuff into our landfill or our transfer station?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor. I believe so. There will be a temporary setup where the charges can be applied. The details are yet to follow.
Thank you. This has got much more deep than a procurement report. And somebody's here to perhaps answer some of those more technical questions. Mr. Condon, I see that your hand is up. Over to you, sir. It looks like you might have a thing or two to add.
I thank you through the mayor. I can comment on, we will have a temporary solution set up to accept garbage and residents off to the one side of the site. We'll use in the gate when you're coming in before the scale house. There's a gate that leads into the grounds of the transfer station. We'll open that gate up, set it up a temporary office site for the attendant. There will be no scale, obviously, but we will work around that to charge by bag and take our best guess at what we're charging to be fair and equal with the residents. On the other side of that, the one other question was regarding the lightning strikes, and we are working. That was discussed with the with Rose Scales when we were going over some of the site works and stuff that is required there, and that was something that we did bring up, and we will work at looking at safeguarding the new scale with additional grounding and etc. for all the hardware and software within that scale. I think that was all the questions, but if I missed something, please let me know.
Thank you for that. Council, any other questions? Councillor Watt's got another question.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake. Do we get anything for the old scale when it's taken out? Do they have a refurbishing project for it or whatever, or do they just take it and put us in a new one, or is that part of the cost?
Through you, Mayor. that we will be getting we are keeping the old scale. The old scale was a used scale when it was installed at our site. It's 20 years old at our site. We're unsure how old it is. And it's a small scale. Nobody puts in a small short scale like that anymore. So he did indicate that they are not interested in the scale. We will get scrap metal price out of the scale. So we'll put that back towards the project.
Thank you. Any other questions? Counselor Johnson.
I'll make a motion to follow the recommendation, which is hiring loan scale limited.
Okay, we'll
For that
contract.
value.
Yep, got that. So you want to second that? Deputy Mayor Nelson, any discussion on the motion? Counselor Watt?
And to receive the presentation? No, we don't have to do that? No?
We have to, that the report be received.
Yes.
Yep, yep. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That motion carries. Great work, Chijo, and thank you, Jake, for the technical support on those questions as well. Moving on to item 10.2, Madam Clerk, with our regular council meeting schedule. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report that's before you presents a schedule for regular council meetings and committee of the whole council meetings for 2026. In our procedural bylaw, there is a regulation that states the clerk will bring forward a report prior to November 30th of each year with the calendar. So we have designed the calendar that's before you. We have contacted the county to look at all of their scheduled dates so that there's no conflicts. We've also looked at the dates for the most common conferences that council goes to, and we've ensured that there's no conflict with those dates as well. If you have any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them. We also took into account that this is going to be an election year and built the schedule around that. We are always able to cancel meetings, but it's hard to insert a meeting because of everyone's different schedules. So it's easier to have all the meetings listed and then have to remove one and try to add one back in.
Thank you for that, Madam Clerk. Any questions on the report that's before you? If Councilor Johnston.
The first meeting in January, there is a conference from the 18th to the 20th.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Johnson. The first meeting in January does not occur. We only have the second meeting in January, which is on the 20th, so it should avoid that conference.
But the conference is the 18th to the 20th.
Would you not be back by then?
But the traffic's not too bad.
Well, you know, rush hour in Toronto starts at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. But I think that conference usually wraps up by about noon for a 5 o'clock meeting. So, Councillor Watt.
Thank you, through Madam Mayor. Thanks, Martina. Madam Clerk, there was discussion, and maybe they've settled it by now, for the OEMC in September. Because the long weekend falls so late in the first week of September, they were maybe going to move it to the second week like there, the third week like this year. So we can play that one by ear, but we do have that ability to change these things if necessary. So that one may crop up. It's hard to say till they get things sorted out.
Thank you for flagging that, Councillor. Any other questions or comments on the report that's before you? Seeing nothing, we'd just be looking for a motion then to approve that. Councillor Landsman, and who would like to second that motion? Councillor Johnston. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? And that motion carries. On to item 10.3, Group Benefits Renewal Report, and this is also the clerk's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Similar to the report you just saw, this report is an annual report we bring as part of our renewal of the benefits program. Our compensation bylaw states that this report must be brought to council. So in the report, we've outlined all of the different parts of the benefit program. There's also a copy of the benefit package attached where you can see the different pricing for each category. Overall, we have been able to negotiate some savings for the township, which is always nice to see. So there will be a decrease of our operating costs for our budget program by $11,746. We saw noticeable reductions in the rates for basic life by 11.8%. And also our long-term disability was reduced by 20%. So that's nice to see. Those are ones that do cost quite a bit. So it's nice to have those rate reductions. We did see an increase in the rates for dental coverage, but we didn't see any changes for any of the other categories. So again, the reduction in cost is 11,746 or 4.1%.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any questions on the report that's before you? And if nothing, then we would just like a motion. Councillor Johnston?
The chair will make a motion to receive. And include.
Thank you. Does anyone want to second that? Councillor Landsman, any discussion? Before I call the vote on that one, just to call out that this is something that we do in partnership with the county through their services. So we do have the benefit, and I know Deputy Mayor and I were at County Council last week, and a similar report was received, and they too saw a reduction. So it's nice to see that that those partnerships are working for us. All in favor? And that motion carries. Thank you. On to item number 11, committee minutes and other reports. Just one set of minutes from the Douro-Dummer Public Library from their June 10th meeting. Councillor Landsman, a motion? A motion to receive from Councillor Landsman. Does anyone want to second that? Councillor Johnston, any discussion? All in favor? That motion carries. We've got just a reminder, 4 items under correspondence, the 4th being that letter that we carried over from earlier in the agenda, but we'll start with item 12.1, correspondence from the municipality of Brighton. What would you like to do with this particular piece of correspondence? Deputy Mayor? A motion to receive and support from Deputy Mayor Nelson. Does anyone want to second that? Councillor Watt? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That motion carries. On to item 12.2, the City of Dryden resolution regarding mandatory water safety and swim to survive training. Council, what would you like to do with this? Okay, Councillor Landsman, a motion to receive and support. Just a reminder, everybody, to use your microphone so I don't have to repeat your motions as you make them. Both of you were guilty on that side of the table already, so it's okay. So we have a motion to receive and support, seconded by Councillor Johnston. Any discussion on this? Councillor Deputy Mayor?
Through the chair, just a comment. I know I was very fortunate at our school that we had swimming programs. I know that my parents paid for that, but it was definitely, we went to the YMCA. We were bused into the YMCA, me as a kid. And actually, I think I was around right up until I was 16, and I think it's a great idea to have kids trained and know how to swim. And unfortunately, on the bad side of that, I actually was involved in trying to save a life of a kid that unfortunately did not have swimming lessons, and I can tell you I'd sure pay for a kid's swimming lesson for not to go through that again. So I very much support that.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments on the motion that's before us? All in favor? And that motion carries. We have a resolution from the City of Kitchener regarding postage costs. What would you like to do with this, Council? Councillor Watt?
Motion to receive only, please, and I'll comment on it in a minute.
Does anyone want to second that motion? Councillor Johnston? And back over to you, Councillor Watt.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. It's again, comes back to like a township like ours. So it's saying here that they are going to grandfather out paper billing as a default option and to permit municipalities to establish fees for paper billing for new accounts. But that doesn't mean we may not have someone in our township move in, maybe move back, whatever. That again is technology, techie, not savvy, put it that way. And, now all of a sudden they're gonna get another charge for sending out a paper bill kind of like that. And I'm thinking, I'm not really in favor of charging people to send out a one-time paper bill kind of like that per an account.
Okay, thank you for those comments. So we have a motion just to receive, not to support that motion. Any other discussion on that motion? All in favor? And that motion carries. On to item 12.4, and this is just a carryover from item 7.3, the OPP letter from Minister Kresner. Deputy Mayor, you pulled that. Would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I just think it's important that we get the news out there that at least the Police Services Board has at least limited, or how do I say it? Maybe the Attorney General, I guess, is who I should say. Solicitor General, sorry. Not Attorney General. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Has at least clamped down and said that we're only going to have, like, I think we were looking at 25% there at one time of an increase for the police, for the OPP. So anyways, I'm happy to see that they've capped it. Don't know what that's going to mean, but anyways, they have at least capped it. So looking forward, at least that we can at least know that we're not going to be over at least 11% on our OPP budget. So I think that's a great thing for all municipalities to at least know that ahead of time when we're trying to prepare for our budgets and waiting on the OPP to get back. At least if we budget for that amount, and if it's less, well, we're in the bonus. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments on that? Councillor Watt?
Sorry, I just wanted to know if our representative on the Police Services Board may have anything that she'd like to add.
Well, I certainly have comments I'd like to add, but I was going to let Council go first. Is there anything Council would like to add on this? Seeing nothing further, I'm actually going to speak as mayor, not as a OPP detachment board member. The billing is the billing that's kind of set by the province. The detachment board itself doesn't have any input in that billing. Unlike detachment boards, Section 10 boards, like in the city of Peterborough, they're basically looking at the OPP billing model across the province, and then they hand us a bill. We're not creating a budget at the detachment board, so I think it's really important to clarify that. Like you, Deputy Mayor, I agree that it's really nice to have a cap. Thank you, Minister Kresner, for putting that in place, who's the Solicitor General. However, 11% is not, to me, a cap. In all sincerity, 11% on our policing budget could actually equate to 4 or 5% in a tax increase, because 1% really on the levy is only roughly $60,000 of new revenue for us. So I want to put that in perspective as well. It's great to have a cap. Last year we got a bill, and then there was some right sizing because everybody was shocked. So it does allow us for better future planning from a financial standpoint, looking over at Mr. Joshi, who's sitting in that chair tonight. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think 11% is really an acceptable cap. I don't know whose budgets get to go up 11%, on an annual basis. And I'm hoping that there will be some more work done in the future to reduce that top line number, because a double-digit increase doesn't make sense. And it really just takes away from the amount of investment that we can do in the community, because we know that there's only, so much that ratepayers can burden on their tax bills. And, seeing that, 3, 4, 5% on the tax bill potentially this year because of policing exclusively could limit our ability to move forward with improvements in infrastructure within the community. So I just want to flag that. There's no motion for action on this, so I just wanted to have the conversation around that and flag the item. So we're just looking for a motion to receive that piece of correspondence. Deputy Mayor Nelson, seconded by Councillor Landsman. Did we already have a motion? No, we didn't. So any discussion? I feel like we just had the discussion, didn't we? All in favor? And that motion carries. Thank you very much. On to item number 13, bylaws, bylaw to amend the consolidated road speed bylaw 2018-39 as amended. So this is to restrict speed on a portion of Douro Second Line Road based on a report that came to council through Councillor Johnston's notice of motion. So we're just looking for a motion to approve that bylaw. Councillor Johnston should make that motion. Does anyone want to second that motion? Deputy Mayor Nelson, any discussion? All in favor? That motion carries. And the second motion, or pardon me, bylaw on the agenda is 13.2, bylaw number 2025-35, and that is to appoint a treasurer and repeal bylaw 25-29. I'm excited to point out that on October 14th, is that the official date? On October 14th, we'll be having a new treasurer joining us in full-time capacity, who will be joining the team. So I'm really pleased that we're able to get that role filled and with a qualified applicant. I think Councillor Johnston, you sat on that hiring committee, and thank you for that work, and thank you to staff for making that happen. So just a bylaw to appoint her when she joins in, she can fill that role. Councillor Watt, seconded by Councillor Landsman. Any discussion? All in favor? And that motion carries. There's no reports derived from previous notices of resolution. Are there any notices of motion? Seeing nothing, are there any announcements? Seeing none, I will just flag that, speaking of OPP, the Peterborough County OPP Detachment Board is now at a point where they are recruiting for community appointees. I believe there's 3 seats available from the broader Peterborough County area. They're looking for a diverse group of people from across the county with different skill sets. There's an intake process that's available through the County of Peterborough OPP Detachment Board website. And there's an information session next Friday, October 17th at the OPP Detachment Office. So if anybody's looking for information on that, it's on the county website. It's on our website as well, isn't it? Thank you, Madam Clerk. And something to consider to serve. Councillor Watt.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. I just want to point out again that we are going to have another coffee and conversation for the public to engage with council and staff. And that is on the 23rd of this month at 6 o'clock here in the town hall.
I believe it's is it 6 or 7? 6:30.
6:30. We're in between. Okay. So just an invitation to everyone in the township to please come out and bring your questions, chat with us, have a coffee or whatever we have for entertainment that night, and enjoy.
Entertainment, that is the entertainment. No, but interestingly, we don't have live bands in or anything like that. It just, you never know. Bring your guitar, Harold. Oh, there you go. I will say though, that meeting, we will be receiving budget. We're starting to go into the budget process. So it's an opportunity for members of the public the budget will have been presented by that point in time. So it'll be an opportunity for members of the public to just informally ask questions or provide input or seek clarification on any of those items. Thank you for flagging that. Any other announcements? Seeing nothing else, last we have on the agenda is a closed session. So our visitors in the gallery, you'll be asked to leave momentarily. But what we're looking for, a resolution to go into closed session for section 239(2) of the Municipal Act for personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, proposed or pending, or item C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and item K, a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. So we need, and it's on item, the item that's on the agenda is cited as 17.1 Intercom Drive property inquiry. So we're looking for a motion to go into closed for that. Councillor Johnston, seconded by Councillor Watt, all in favor. That motion carries, and we'll just take a brief recess so we can get the room secure. Thank you very much.